We're back with our daily college basketball best bets here on Sunday, November 30th. Yesterday, a 3-2 day. Finished out positive with the late night games. Shout out to Pacific picking up a huge blowout victory. And then how about Cal Baptist going to Corvallis and beating the Oregon State Beavers like we predicted, closing out a 3-2 day. Lipscomb ended up being a plus money winner, of course, as well. So got our first two games wrong yesterday, which sucked. Thanks Manhattan Oh my goodness, Manhattan worked so hard to get back in that game, hit a big step back three to take a 3-point lead with 10 seconds to go, ended up giving up the three from Army and eventually lost. Disgusting. And then St. Peter's just played a horrible basketball game, but luckily for us, we win our next three. Positive day yesterday. Let's look for more of the same here to close the week and close the month of November as well, being the final day, of course, of November. Okay, before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Later today, we're going to have our NBA best bets posted, and with it being Sunday, obviously, NFL content's up, so make sure to go check out our Week 13 content between predictions, best bets, and best player props all on the channel this week. And also, later today on Greedo Plays MMA, we're back on Greedo Plays MMA after a week off from the UFC last week. We're back this week for the final UFC pay-per-view card of the year, UFC 323, with Merab Dvalishvili defending the Bantamweight Championship in a rematch against Piotr Yan. PFL predictions also later in the week as well, so go make sure to check that out on Greedo Plays MMA later today at noon Pacific. Okay, on to the first of our 5 best bets today for college basketball. I will warn you again, it's another big mid-major day. The only Power 5 teams that are playing today, I think I could be wrong, the only 2 Power 5 teams that are playing today are two, WVU and Texas Tech. I could be wrong, and I could be missing one. But I think those are the only 2 Power 5 teams playing. I don't like either of those games. I thought about going Wyoming spread at Lubbock, but I decided against it. So we're going to go straight mid-majors again today. Hopefully tomorrow there's better games. I haven't really looked at the Monday slate yet, and I'm looking at it right now. We might get stuck. Ooh, Cal Baptist at Colorado tomorrow. Just wait for that. Anyways, let's do it. First of 5 best bets, all mid-majors, as we kick things off with a matchup in San Antonio, Texas, between the UTSA Roadrunners and the South Alabama Jaguars. Give me the South Alabama Jaguars to win the basketball game on the road and cover the 2.5 points. We have picked against UTSA in a spot like this before. If you remember early in the year, first game really of the year for a Division I opponent, I guess, or against a Division I opponent for UTSA as they took on SIUE. They didn't just lose the game. They didn't just not cover that game. They lost the game outright, losing to the Cougars by 17 points. An SIUE team who has been up and down, to say the least, this season. But UTSA, not moved at all. You're a 4-3 team. Your victories are the Biblical Studies of Texas. I think that's what they are. The College of Biblical Studies, Denver on the road, Southwestern Christian, and Georgia Southern in your last game. I think the Georgia Southern victory is probably the best. It was a neutral site game, a tournament game. They played 2 games in that Thanksgiving Feast Week tourney where they got Albany and Christian first, lost by 11 points, and then won their next game on Tuesday against Georgia Southern. But this is a 4-3 team out of the American Conference, and I'm just not moved by anything this team does, except for Jameer Simpson. Jameer Simpson can hoop. Okay, watching UTSA, he's the only player who actually shows up. And remember that SIUE game that we had? Simpson only scored 16 points, but that was really the best effort that anybody on the Roadrunners gave. He went 3 for 9 from the three-point line. Really, that's where he sits at pretty much the entire season. He's a 33% three-point shooter, is Jameer Simpson, but he gets to the rack. He's very aggressive, gets to the free throw line, and he is a 19 points per game scorer this season for the UTSA Roadrunners, coming off a 22-point performance in the win over Georgia Southern earlier in the week. This is a player who was at Southern Utah last season, now here at UTSA, averaged 16 points per game for Southern Utah last year, now at UTSA and averaging 19 points per game. Other than Jameer Simpson, there's no one on this team that can score, at least consistently. It is just Jameer Simpson. Caden Rayfield is going to operate as their center. He is only 6'8" and probably in a different system and a different offense. He'd probably be a 4, but he operates as the 5 for UTSA. He can get rebounds. I think he's a true freshman, or is he a redshirt? I believe he's a true freshman. He's been good this season. Doesn't really score, as he is just really there to grab rebounds. But again, Rayfield has not been bad this year. I like South Alabama a lot more, a team that is 6-1 currently in the Sun Belt Conference. Chase Harris and Adam Olson and Peyton Law are going to lead the scoring for South Alabama this year. You get 15 points per night out of Chase Harris. You get 15 points per night out of Adam Olson, and Chase Law is averaging currently 14 a game. Harris and Law, both seniors, Adam Olson, a junior, and Chase Harris, man, the games that he's been putting on recently, 19 points in a winning effort a couple weeks ago, or actually last week at Jacksonville State, and a loss at UAB, but 25 points from Chase Harris. He's been the guy for South Alabama all season long. This team's not played in 9 days, which isn't the best. I get it. Still, though, I think we should be okay. Yesterday I looked at the narrative of, oh, well, St. Peter's and Dartmouth. Dartmouth hasn't played in 2 weeks, so maybe we're good on picking against Dartmouth. Nope. I'm not really going to I'm not going to use the, time away narrative, because simply put, it just doesn't matter, I don't think. And we learned that the hard way yesterday. Now, in all fairness, the Peacocks hadn't played in a while either. For South Alabama, though, this is a team that is 6-1 with their only loss coming in their last game in Birmingham, Alabama, again, to those UAB Blazers, losing by 8 points in that one. But every other game so far South Alabama has played, they've won, including a huge victory at the Mac's own Toledo Rockets. Some of their wins are a little close, I'm going to be honest, and too close for comfort against teams that you would expect South Alabama to be better than. I'm talking about Alcorn State, only beating them by 6 points. Central Michigan victory over the Chippewas is by 2, and a Coppin State win by 10. Going to Jack State and winning by 6, though, regardless of how, gutted Jack State got in the portal last season or this season in general, it's still a good victory going the road and scoring 71 points, but winning by 6. I just don't love how close some of their games are, but I do have a lot of trust in their scorers. Again, Chase Harris, senior guard, first-year Division I basketball, averaging 15.5 points per game. How about Adam Olson Jr.? Again, just like Harris, first-year Division I basketball. I believe this team's just a bunch of JUCO and D3 guys and D2 players who really stepped up. How about Peyton Law? Again, senior, first year of collegiate basketball at the Division I level. You've got a bunch of guys who are relatively unknown guys, and they've been scoring, and they've been playing well so far as a unit. And again, a lot of their scoring, I would say, over 75% of their scoring is going to come out of Chase Harris, Adam Olson, and Peyton Law. As for UTSA, again, it's just Jameer Simpson, and beyond Simpson, I don't really like anything else that goes on for the Roadrunners. And this is not football. We're going to UTSA and going to the Alamo Dome is some impossible task. No, it's basketball, and they play in the UTSA Convention Center, I believe it is. No, Convocation Center. What? I read it wrong. Okay. I'm going with South Alabama to win the basketball game on the road. -2.5. You want to play -150? It's there, so go ahead. But I'm going to take -2.5 here for the Jaguars going on the road to San Antonio and beating UTSA. On now to our second best bet of the video, and we go to a matchup between the tribe of William and Mary at home in Williamsburg, Virginia, as they host the Old Dominion Monarchs. I'm going with William and Mary to win, but on top of that, obviously, we need them to cover. The line is at 5.5. Give me the tribe to cover that. This is a William & Mary team that we've gone to already this season. They've been really good to us, right? It's a team that we were kind of on last year as well, but William & Mary 6-2, and of course, they come from the daunted CAA. You know how much I hype up the CAA with all of their, really good teams that don't really get talked about. Of course, UNC Wilmington, probably one of the better mid-majors that no one talks about. That team is really damn good, and they retain players every single season. How about the win Stony Brook's been getting? They just went to Loyola Marymount in Los Angeles and beat LMU. Elon's been, a mixed bag at times, but that's another team that can give you problems. I know they lost to Mercer yesterday, so good thing I did not put that in the video. I thought about it yesterday. Townsend is always going to give you trouble. I mean, this isn't, of course, William & Mary. This is a really good conference who typically plays well in terms of their non-con schedule, especially when they get games at home. And this is where the tribe get ODU. William & Mary, again, a 6-2 team this season. Some victories over some unknown schools like the Georgian Court. Is this what? Okay. They beat the Georgian Court earlier in the year. Then they went to Norfolk State and beat the Spartans. You would think, you just beat a MEAC team by 3 points. Okay, going on the road and playing Norfolk State, that's a difficult task. All right, Norfolk State is the one team at the MEAC that I really think high of and think that, that's a really good mid-major. So no shame in that performance. They go to Bowling Green and pick up a huge win, beating them by 8 points. Regent, okay, they beat them. Obviously, it's a Division II or lower. They blow them out. Win over UTEP in tournament play, and then a win over Albany Christian in tournament play. William & Mary, I think they had to have. Yeah, they won the Jacksonville Classic. So this team, again, is on fire. They were at even money with Albany Christian, and they won the game by 30-plus points. Yeah, I like WMU or WNM. I don't know if they go by that. WM, I think they just are. I like WM quite a bit. My goodness, English. I'm gonna go with William and Mary here. This is a team led in scoring currently by Reese Miller, but it's not really just Reese Miller. No disrespect to him. Again, he is a hooper, averaging 12 points per game. I would not say he's their all-around best scorer. He did not play in the final game of the Jacksonville Classic, and Cade Haskins really took over scoring-wise. I believe their best guy personally is Kyle Pulliam from watching them play. I think Pulliam's a very aggressive player. I understand, again, it has his nights where he doesn't score all that much. Only played 2 minutes, got injured in the Albany Christian game. But this is a point guard who is very, ball dominant and can get rebounds, oddly enough, for a point guard too. We'll see if he plays. Same thing can be said by Reese Miller. So we might have some injury problems here for W&M today, but they still have players like Cade Haskins. He's one of their forwards, plays the three, averages 10 points per game, but when needed, of course, with injuries to both Reese Miller and Kyle Pulliam, who are their two leading scorers, Cade Haskins, who is their third leading scorer, stepped up and scored 20 points. William Mary just has players. Killian Brockhoff as well, who's their leading board getter right now. Essentially plays their center role as 6'8 center from Germany, averages 10 points per game, but has been dominant on the glass so far this year, averaging only 6 boards a game, but still he's been operating as their 5. Brockhoff came from UC Santa Barbara, then played at St. Louis, and now found his role in a starting job over at William & Mary. It's, again, we've talked about them earlier in the year. It's just a very well-rounded lineup with a lot of good players from 1 to 12. I know they don't play 12 players a game, but you know what I mean there. William & Mary is hosting Old Dominion. This is a all Virginia matchup. ODU hasn't been that good this season. I know they did go to Drexel and only lost by 4 points to the Dragons. Okay, Drexel actually covered. They were 3.5-point favorites in that game. We'll see against. I don't really want to comp just Drexel and William & Mary because, the CAA is confusing and they're, we'll get into tournament play or we'll get into conference play later in the year. And that's, home court advantage is going to play a huge factor into CAA games over on Flow Sports Network. But Drexel, who, again, I think is all right. I would definitely say William & Mary is better than Drexel this season, at least from what I've seen so far. Drexel beats ODU by 4 points at home. ODU's only victories this year are Norfolk at home by 3 points. Again, nowhere near as good as William & Mary's victory. William & Mary had to go to Norfolk and win, albeit not that far of a trip for either team. But still, William & Mary goes on the road, beats Norfolk State by 3. Old Dominion gets Norfolk State at home and wins a competitive, low-scoring game by 3 points. But it's just ODU's losses are so bad. At Miami of Ohio, losing by 15 points. In D.C. to George Washington, losing to the Revolutionaries by 23 points. Losing to Xavier on the road by 30 points. An Xavier team that, obviously Big East and, I guess the Power 5. A team that has been a little disappointing at times this season. They played Marist and Lemoyne really tightly, and then ODU comes to town, and it's Xavier's only blowout victory so far this year. Actually, I think they blew out Texas A&M Corpus Christi, but you know what I mean, right? You look at the other games for Old Dominion too, right? I mean, Morgan State win, not moved. Obviously, it's Morgan State, Drexel, Villanova, back-to-back L's. Not moved by anything ODU does. It's been a lot of Jordan Battle scoring recently. Casey Shaw is their official leading scorer, but Jordan Battle has been their primary guy coming off of the Casey Shaw injury. Battle really taking over at the 1 spot. Played at Coastal last year, averages 12 points per game. Again, you've seen an increase in minutes and production out of him recently, but I'm not moved by ODU. I'm taking William & Mary to win this interstate matchup, and I am expecting the Tribe to cover the spread as well. So give me William & Mary minus 5.5 points at home in Lynchburg against the Old Dominion Monarchs. Williamsburg. Who plays in Lynchburg, Virginia? I think we just went over that the other day. Oh my goodness. Someone's in Lynchburg, Virginia. I gotta look this up. It's Liberty. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, in Williamsburg, Virginia, William & Mary gets the victory and covers 5.5 points. On to our third best bet of the video, and we go to a matchup. Of course, still mid-majors, but we now go to Conway, South Carolina for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers hosting the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Give me the Chants to win and cover 6.5 points. I know Coastal just lost a game by 50 points. I get it. It can't get worse than that. Okay, they went to Illinois State and lost to the Redbirds. This is not a typo. 94-42. Oh. Yeah, it sucks. But still, Coastal should dominate Alabama A&M. And in all fairness, we have not seen Alabama A&M in a position like this. And what I mean by this is their only games on the road this year have been to Power 5 schools. And, well, one, a top 25 team in the country, the Indiana Hoosiers. And then as well, a couple days ago, they went, and as they're doing their South Carolina trip right now, they went to Clemson, lost by 40 points, and now obviously they go to Coastal. But the thing about Alabama A&M is, right, their only two road games this year are IU and Clemson, who obviously are from the ACC and the Big Ten. And their other games that they've played this year, they've actually won all of them. They beat Blue Mountain, Okay, they beat Charleston Southern. I know the Buccaneers aren't that good, but still, I mean, that's a victory for Alabama A&M. We rarely see SWAC teams win non-con games, and Charleston is 5-4. I don't think they're a very good 5-4 in all fairness. Their wins are like the Citadel and IU Indianapolis, but still, Alabama A&M beats Charleston Southern. Then Lindenwood comes to town, and they beat Lindenwood by 9 points. Lindenwood, though, is really struggling. They play in that lowly OVC, but yeah, Lindenwood actually beat Charleston Southern, so I don't know. I don't put much in Alabama A&M's victories. They are at home too, and when you take them out of Alabama, I don't entirely know what to expect. Really for Alabama A&M, what I've seen, there's really 2 scorers. It's Contavious Dozier, who averages 13 points per night. Dozier was at Grambling last year and went from obviously SWAC to SWAC. He's now at Alabama A&M, which I guess, sure. He's been all right for this team. Now he's been good. He's their leading scorer with 13 tonight. And then there's Sami Pieces, who's from France. He operates as their point guard. The beard makes him look like he's from Dagestan, makes him look Chechnyan. Maybe he is Chechnyan and he's from France. I don't know. I don't know how he got to Alabama A&M then. But regardless, this is a player who averages 9 points per game, but he can explode for big nights. He had 13 in the Charleston Southern victory and had 19 in 34 minutes in the Lindenwood game. He just plays big minutes. Yeah, I don't know. This guy might actually be Chechnyan. He looks like he's Chechnyan. Started at Southeastern Louisiana, then played at New Hampshire, and now at Alabama A&M. Now, after further review, guys, it's just his ESPN mugshot that makes him look like he's from Chechnya. You see any other picture of him, he looks like, I don't know, like Deron Williams' son. Anyways, Sami Pieces has been good this season. Again, he's their other big scorer. I get it, he only averages 9 points per game, but it's him and Dozier that are the main 2 scorers on this team. They basically start 2 point guards. Pieces does play the 2 from what I've seen, but whatever. I don't think Alabama A&M is going to be that good on the road here. You know, we look at their 2 road games. Again, they're hard to really... they're hard to determine because, it's Indiana and it's Clemson, but the game that they went to Bloomington and played, they lost in 98-51, and then they went to South Carolina to play Clemson. They lost 92-56. Now, on the flip side, they're playing the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, who just came off of one of the most disgusting performances you're going to ever see. Now, we do need to realize what this game is, though, and this is why, actually, I believe Coastal minus 6.5 is actually undervalued here. This should probably be at like minus 8.5 or 9.5. The only reason it's at this line is because they played Illinois State, okay? And yeah, that game's weird. They lose it by 50 points. I don't know who scheduled this for them, but that was on the 3rd night of a back-to-back-to-back. Was it a tournament? Oh, I guess it was a tournament. They played a pre-Feast Week tournament? I guess they did. I feel like these are separate events, though. Wait, hold on. Illinois State's not in... Yeah, wait, Illinois State's in normal Illinois. No, they did just schedule this. This isn't a tournament. Okay, so Coastal is what's confusing, right? So they go to West Illinois and play the Leathernecks of Western Illinois, and they win that game, okay? I believe Western Illinois just hosted like an invitational or a jamboree or whatever, where they just invited... I believe they just invited Coastal, UND, North Dakota, and just those 2 to go play them. So Coastal wins night 1, they beat West Illinois. Then they win on night 2, they beat North Dakota. I think, did West Illinois and North Dakota play each other? I feel like they did. I think I saw that, right? Yeah, they did play each other. Okay, so they played on the 3rd night of the tournament, or the, the jamboree. Coastal left after the 2nd day to go to Illinois State and play on the 3rd night of a back-to-back-to-back, just so they could give their guys Thanksgiving off. The entire week they took off, or well, in terms of they didn't play. But it's a lot of travel and a lot of basketball. At least when you're going to play 3 straight games, you stay in the same spot. Now, I don't think Illinois State's that far from West Illinois. I don't think it is at all. I've never been to that part of the state, I'll be honest with you. But, yeah, I really would not put much on the Illinois State loss. That was the 3rd night of 3 straight games for this team. And the 2 games they won, again, both in West Illinois, they beat the Leathernecks and they beat UND as well. Close losses to WMU and Jacksonville State earlier in the year. Win at home over Winthrop. Okay, we'll take that. I think Coastal's actually undervalued still in this spot. Joshua Beadle and Rashid Jones and AJ Dantzler have been their best guys so far this season. Again, the best scorer and leading scorer for this team, though, is Joshua Beadle. He is their point guard, averaging 16 points per game. Started at Clemson, started his career at Clemson, then actually started at BC last season. Now at Coastal Carolina, where he is the guy. Beadle's been very good this year for the Chanticleers, and I do still think they're undervalued in this home spot against Alabama A&M. We are taking a lot of favorites today. I do understand that, but I'm going to take Coastal to win and cover here, the 6.5 points. To me, again, if I had to put a line for this game, this is 9.5, 8.5. but we get it at 6, so we shall take it. Give me Coastal Carolina minus 6.5 at home against the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. On to our 4th best bet of the video as we now move on to another mid-major. It's all mid-majors today. And we go to Presbyterian at home. I believe they're at home, taking on the Citadel. Or is this a neutral site? I don't think it doesn't really matter to me. But regardless, Presbyterian, the Blue Hose, playing obviously in the Big South Conference. They are not at home. Yeah, they're okay. I was making sure. Yeah, they're from South Carolina. They're playing in North Carolina. I think UNC Asheville's doing like a little tournament right now still. I believe. Yeah, they are. Okay, because UNC Asheville's playing earlier today against Appalachian State, and then later in the day is Citadel versus Presbyterian. So this is actually a neutral site game, even though, well, I guess Citadel's right there too. Citadel's South Carolina, right? Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you get 2 South Carolina teams in Presbyterian and Citadel coming up to North Carolina to play in this thing, whatever. I don't really think, there's going to be much of a fan base from either school, but anyways, and, it's just going to be parents. But Citadel and Presbyterian play here at 1 o'clock on the West Coast from Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm taking the Blue Hose. Taking the Blue Hose to win this game and cover the 6.5 points. Yes, this is a team that lost 4 consecutive road games pretty badly. Well, they played Sac State kind of close. They played Cal kind of close too. And here's the thing. That's why I actually don't mind Presbyterian. Watching them play Sac and watching them play Cal, especially the Sac game though, this team's got fight. And they just haven't been able to really show it yet in a winning effort. I'll be honest, I have not watched their game against Columbia International. I don't think there's footage of that game, at least other than highlights on Twitter. Maybe I'm wrong there. But their games that they have lost that I have watched, they have been very competitive, right? And there's hope for this team, okay? The South Carolina game, that was bad, and the UCLA game was bad. That's why I opened with, the UCLA game was horrible. It was by 40 points. They didn't even score 50. It was bad. But the Cal game, and especially the Sac State game, where we had Sac State to cover, and it did not go our way, obviously. Presbyterian put up a good fight cross country. They can stay in games, man. I mean, they were down, I think, like 8 points at one point late in the game against Sacramento State, and they came fighting back and came roaring back. Jonah Pierce is going to do a lot of the scoring for Presbyterian alongside Carl Parrish, and this is what a lot of teams in the Big South don't have. That's a really good 4/5 guy who can score, and that's what Jonah Pierce is. Pierce is going to put up not that many shots, but he's going to be efficient in the shots that he does take. This is a purely interior presence type guy where, again, if he goes up, he's likely hammering it down, or he's going to find himself with an easy layup. And if you can't, obviously, get 2 guys on him or put a hand in his face, you're just going to foul him. Jonah Pierce, so far this season, is averaging 15 points and 8 rebounds a game. He's been huge against 6'10 forward/center from Sanford, Florida. This is his 3rd season at Presbyterian. He's played his entire Division I college basketball career with the Blue Hose. And Carl Parrish has also been really good for Presbyterian this year. Again, a guy who's played 3 years with the Blue Hose in his junior year, averaging 12 points per game. He is their starting point guard. You can see what Presbyterian is doing. It's Parrish, it's Pierce, and they've been decent this year. Again, the wins haven't really shown up just yet. They only have 2 victories over Division I schools. That would be Eastern Tennessee, and that would be Georgia State. The Georgia State victory, though, by the way, on the road in Atlanta. The other victories are Bluefield and Columbia International. Don't know what those are. But their losses, again, have been varying in competitiveness. Their first game, they did host Navy and lose by 21 points, which we don't like that. But still, recently, it's been better for Presbyterian. Went on a very long road trip in California. It started in Sac, then to Berkeley, then down to UCLA. They were in California for a whole week. Now back in, I guess, the South. Or UNC's not, North Carolina's not really the South, but South Carolina's the South. They're in South Carolina now, taking on another South Carolina school in the Citadel. The Citadel might be the worst Division I basketball team. No, they're not. I mean, there's way worse teams. How is UNC Greensboro 1-7, by the way? I just saw the SoCon standings. That team's that bad this year? What happened to them? I knew they were bad. They're 1-7? Oh, my goodness. There's worse teams, obviously, in Division I basketball. Citadel is bad, but there are teams that are worse. I mean, hell, I can think of one in the Big South right now in Gardner-Webb. They're 0-9. Or just really look at every single team the Minnesota Golden Gophers have played, and that'll tell you the worst teams and the lowest teams in the Ken Palm. But Citadel is 2-5, but they're 0-5 against Division I opponents. Their 2 victories are Erskine and North Greenville. By the way, only beating Division II North Greenville by 13 points. Their losses, a blowout loss at BC, home loss to Charleston Southern by double digits, an 8-point loss on the road at West Georgia where they did score 92 points, but West Georgia scored 100, a home loss to Bellarmine losing by 12, and then a home loss to the Houston Christian Huskies losing by 7 points. Yeah, it's been rough sledding for the Bulldogs so far this year. 2 leading scorers and 2 main scorers are going to be Christian Moore and Braxton Williams. Christian Moore, a sophomore from Los Angeles, was varying in his had varying minutes last season, but did start a third of the games last year for the Citadel. Has been established as a starter now, and he is averaging 11 points per game. Braxton Williams is their senior small forward, first year playing collegiate basketball at the Division I level. Did put up 20 points in 32 minutes against Houston Christian, but again, beyond both Braxton Williams and Christian Moore, not much else I like on Citadel. Keenan Davis hasn't been bad from what I've seen. Third-year player at Citadel as well, who did start in the games he was healthy for last season, but I'm going to stay away from Citadel in this spot. Again, like Alabama A&M, it's just not a team that's not very good, and like Alabama A&M, or unlike Alabama A&M, they haven't even beaten a Division I school yet. In all fairness, Citadel doesn't really schedule home games. They just go buy games on the road for the most part. Well, no, they've had 3 home games. What am I saying? Yeah, Citadel doesn't need to buy games. Yeah, this team's not good. They're not good. They had home games against Houston Christian, Bellarmine, and Charleston Southern, and they lost all 3 of them. And now they go to a neutral site game against the Blue Hose. I like Presbyterian a lot more. Okay, I do. Presbyterian's played better competition and actually been somewhat competitive with those teams. And yeah, Citadel's been close with teams too, but they're close with West Georgia and Houston Christian. In the Houston Christian game, they're on their own home court. I'm going to stay away from the Bulldogs. Give me the Presbyterian Blue Hose to win the basketball game and cover the 6.5 points from Asheville, North Carolina. On to our final best bet of the video, and you may have seen it from the thumbnail, which, yeah, this is something. I never thought this game would be on a thumbnail of a video. The San Jose State Spartans and the UC Irvine Anteaters. Yep, here we are. UCI, it's disappointing the fall off from the UC Irvine Anteaters. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you have such a successful season and you lose, well, guys, to graduation in all fairness, but some of your best players are really, you lose 4 out of your 5 starters. It's what happens. Devin Tillis goes to Virginia to become a bench player for them. Whatever. Justin Hahn graduates, Bent Leitston graduates, and Miles Che decides to go to UNLV, and he still hasn't stepped on the court yet. I believe he's still hurt. But yeah, you lose your 4 out of your 5 starters. Who's the other starter? Oh, it's Jurian Dixon. And in all fairness, Jurian Dixon has really taken over to be the guy for UCI. He would come off the bench in some spots, but he would also just be that 5th starter. Towards the end of the year, they were starting Dixon more, but for the most part, or I guess earlier in the season, Jurian Dixon would just be that spark plug off the bench, and they just said, we need our 5 best guys in the court at all times, because Dixon would play better defense than some of those guys would. But Dixon now, obviously, you can't use him as a spark plug off the bench anymore. He is your spark plug. He's starting, and he is the lead scorer for the Anteaters this season. Jurian Dixon averages 17 points per game. He's been really good for UCI this year. I can't say the same about the rest of the team, I'll be honest with you. Darren Saran and Kyle Evans have been pretty good, too. Saran, a sophomore from Istanbul, Turkey, didn't really get to play much with Stanford last year, actually is back at UCI because he was here for his freshman season, then played at Stanford but got to redshirt that year, and now back here at UCI. Averaged 10 points a game at UCI in his freshman year coming off the bench, thought he could play in the ACC. He couldn't. Now he's back in the Big West, and it's a really good decision. He's been good this year for the Anteaters. He's averaging 14 and 7. And then Kyle Evans has been really good. Evans is forced to take over the Leitston role. He was on UCI last year, sat behind Leitston, played, but obviously did not start. Now in his senior season, was originally at Colorado State, now here at Irvine. He's averaging 9 and 8 this year, 9 and 7 this year. Not bad, but again, he's no Bent Leitston. However, UCI is still levels better than San Jose State. San Jose State's gotten worse. They have gotten way worse from last season because everything that made San Jose State really great last year are now gone, right? Only a couple players I'm really impressed by on this team. I guess there's 3. It's Colby Garland, who's really good. I will give Colby Garland a lot of credit. I believe he's from Arkansas, played at Longwood last year, started at Drake. Garland has taken over as the lead scoring role, averaging 19 points per game. He's basically in the Josh Uche role. If you remember Josh Uche from last year, I don't know. I assume he's playing in England now. I don't know. But yeah, Garland's now the lead guy. He basically takes over the Uche role of sorts, even though he kind of plays more like Will McClendon, but whatever. Jermaine Washington also has been good. Sophomore player. Played at San Jose State last year, came off the bench, now starting. And then Yafet Mundi, who's a senior from France, was at Iona last year, now starting at center for the Spartans. A little undersized for a 5, but he does operate again as their center. But everything that made San Jose State good last year, and they won big games. I mean, I was in attendance for for a game in which they beat New Mexico, and the Lobos were great last season, tournament team, Donovan Dent and company. I was at a game where, Latrell Davis hits a game-winning shot for San Jose State against New Mexico in San Jose. Like, that team was good last year, and everything that made SJSU so great, unfortunately, they're all now gone. And this is what happens when you see, San Jose State was not great last year, but they were competitive against a lot of teams, and they gave a lot of teams fits. Every one of their key players last season no longer play on the team. Will McClendon, who was a UCLA product, went to San Jose State, got to reestablish his name, is now at North Texas. And honestly, going to North Texas for Will McClendon so far has been a positive move. I believe he's injured right now, if I'm not mistaken. But McClendon is averaging 13 points per game currently for the North Texas Mean Green. Latrell Davis from England, played at San Jose State last year, hit the game winner in the New Mexico game. Latrell Davis, a very capable player. For some reason, I don't feel like the coaching staff didn't like him sometimes because he only played like 10 minutes. But when he played 30 plus, Latrell Davis was absolutely massive for San Jose State. He transferred to SDSU, San Diego State, and he doesn't play. I don't know. I think he's still hurt from what I'm seeing, or what I'm assuming, because there's no report on Latrell Davis, but he was a very good player last year for the Spartans. I thought he was going to potentially start for the Aztecs this year, but he's yet to hit the court. Again, Ujay graduated, Donovan Yap graduated, and Robert Viola is now at Minnesota. He's not playing that well at Minnesota, but again, SJSU loses every single core piece that they had last year, every starter and every prime bench player that they have. And yeah, they've replaced it again with Mundi, with Colby Garland, and Garland is doing quite a bit, again, taking over that Will McClendon / Josh Ujay type role, and Latrell Davis too. I gotta go with UC Irvine. Both these teams have taken a step back from last season, obviously, because we just went out and mentioned every key piece that have left both the Spartans and the Anteaters. But I do think UCI is in a better spot to win this basketball game. Yes, they played a game against New Mexico State where they scored 45 points. That was disgusting, I understand. They've had some really bad outings this year. Losing at home to Cal Baptist at the time we thought was bad. Now it's really not. Again, I'm kind of ready to pick Cal Baptist to beat Colorado tomorrow, so more on that later. Again, be on the lookout for that one in about 24 hours. But I do give UCI a lot of credit for being South Dakota State. I know, again, my Jackrabbits are nowhere near what they used to be. I understand. It's been difficult this season, to say the least, for that team. Ooh, Jaden Jackson's trying, man, but that team is very bad. They might still be capable in the Summit, though. I don't know. It looks like the Tommies are going to get it. Regardless, though, UCI is coming off a win over South Dakota State. They beat Weber State, and that's it. Those are their only Division I wins. Not like going to San Jose is that difficult of a spot. San Jose State is not a tough environment to play. I've been to that arena. Nobody shows up. It's on a Sunday at 2 o'clock. Nobody cares, unfortunately, about San Jose State basketball. I think the football attendance is bad. Go watch a basketball game at San Jose State. I'm going to be taking UC Irvine to win it outright. There's no late games tonight, so this is our final game at 2 o'clock p.m., but I'm going to be going with the Anteaters of UCI to win the game outright at -115 on the money line. Give me Irvine to beat San Jose State on the road in Northern California. Folks, thank y'all for watching our college basketball best bets here for November 30th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily college basketball best bets, and later today for our NBA best bets as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.